Okay, fine. So today we'll start with the velocity diagram for a turbine. So already we have discussed on it. What are the different components of velocity diagram? So we'll start with a velocity diagram for a steam turbine. So steam turbine system. Now, if you closely observe, so we try to draw the velocity triangles for a rotor. Okay. So let me draw that particular thing. Let me draw the blade. So I may be having a blade like this. So this is my blade. Okay. So this is my blade, and so blade will have an inlet velocity triangle and outlet velocity triangle. So this is my rotor blade. This is a moving blade which is moving in this direction because this is the moving blade what I could see. Okay, this is my moving blade. Now to the blade actually what we will be having is the relative velocity. Okay, that is making an angle of beta 1. So if I want to draw the triangle, okay, this will be my relative velocity 1. Okay, relative velocity 1 making an angle of beta 1. This is my beta 1. Okay, this is my beta 1. Now let me draw that. Okay, it makes an angle of beta 1. So makes an angle of beta 1. Now there is what we call it as an absolute velocity. So there is an absolute velocity which will be which is little bit longer. That is absolute velocity means that is a velocity with which jet enters the blade. So that will be at some angle alpha. Okay, this is my V1. Sorry, V1 at the angle. Okay, this is at the angle alpha 1. Okay, I have this is the one what I have. Now there is the blade will be moving at some velocity. Okay, the blade will be moving at some velocity. That is the velocity u. Okay, this is the velocity u. Now, as I told, this component v1 is resolved into two components. This v1 can be resolved into two components. One in the flow direction, okay, other one in the tangential direction. Okay, I have components. So this is the inlet velocity triangle. What I have inlet velocity triangle. Now look at the directions. Whether the directions is as per your what we vector addition, vector subtraction is V1, VR1, this thing. So V1 is equal to U1 plus VR1 satisfied. Okay, V1 is equal to U plus VR1. I got the satisfaction and the
Sir,
direction, everything. And alpha 1, beta 1. Yes.
sir, here V1 is the resultant of U and VR1, right? V1 is the resultant of U and
V1 is
VR1, right?
resultant. No, no, no. Don't go by that logic. Did you attend my class?
Yes, sir.
That is, see, resultant in the sense actually, that is a closing. This is not, you don't call it a resultant one. You call it as the closing vector. You should not call it as a resultant. Resultant is different. Resultant is different. It's a closing vector. If I want to get a triangle, if I have two velocities, the closing vector, that is the closing vector, not the resultant one. That if it's called as a resultant, then u square plus vr1 square will be equal to v1 square. That will be a resultant. This is not the resultant. Here the resultant is actually V1 is the resultant of VW1 and VF1. Are you getting? From the Pythagoras theorem, if you put it, okay, from the Pythagoras theorem, your V1 square is equal to VW1 square plus VF1 square. Okay. You got it?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So
Yes, sir.
now
Yes, sir.
here V1 is equal to your absolute velocity. V1 is equal to absolute velocity. VR1 is equal to your relative velocity. All are at the inlet. If I put one means all are at the inlet, then U is the blade velocity or peripheral velocity. So that is the velocity with which your blade will move. Okay, then VW1 is the whirl velocity or tangential component of the velocity. Is also called as, it is tangential velocity, which is tangential to the, which is the one which is causing the power. Okay, whirl velocity or tangential velocity. Then your VF1 is equal to your flow velocity. Flow velocity. This is the flow velocity. Alpha 1. Okay, alpha 1 is the flow angle at the inlet. So this is the flow angle, that is the angle with which the fluid enters. Flow angle at the inlet, this is the angle with which the fluid enters. So beta 1 is the blade angle at inlet. So these many components are required for me to draw the inlet velocity triangle. Now, what will happen if I have something over here? See here, if you look at it actually, I may be having a nozzle here. See, I may be having something like a nozzle here. Let me draw that. I may be having a set of nozzles like this here. These are nozzles. So what will happen? The fluid, see, if from the nozzle I can measure this. If you look at this will be my alpha 1. So from the nozzle, what I could see actually, I could see that is the flow which is coming out of that particular nozzle and it is entering your moving blade. So I have the whirl velocity, all these components. Now, if I go to the exit triangle, the exit, what will happen? See, always your VR1, see, this VR1 is tangent to the blade. If at any given point, if I try to draw, this VR1 is tangent to the surface of the blade. The relative velocity should be drawn always tangent to the blade. Now, if I try to draw the exit velocity triangle, how it will be? So it will be, see, the fluid will be striking the blade and it will be sliding like this. So this will be your velocity VR2. Okay, that will be the velocity VR2. Then what will happen to your fluid? So fluid will be exiting something like this. So the fluid will be exiting something like this. See, you know, in a turbine, what will happen? Your inlet velocity triangle will be bigger because I do have more amount of energy. Once the energy is given to the turbine blade, so I'll be losing the energy. So your exit velocity triangle is smaller. So this is my V2. If I try to close it, okay, this will be my, let me use a different color. Okay, so this is my U. So U's will be same. U is the direction of it. So if I try to close the triangle by drawing the components of your VF2, and this will be your, this is the direction, this will be your VW2, okay, and this will be your VF2, okay, and your alpha 2 and your beta 2. So what I can write here? I can write similarly. What is your V2? V2 is the absolute velocity at the exit. So V2 is the absolute velocity. Is the absolute velocity at the exit. The velocity at exit. Then similarly, I have U is the blade velocity, which remains same. VW2 is actually, it is the whirl velocity. It is the whirl velocity at the exit, and Vf2 is also, this is the flow velocity at the exit. Then similarly, alpha 2 is the exit flow angle. So exit flow angle or flow angle at the exit. What is your beta 2? This is the blade angle at the exit. All the components we have written. Now, this is the velocity triangle for an impulse turbine. So, impulse axial flow turbine. So, where you have all the components. So, I have around 5 velocity components for each velocity triangle. This is your exit velocity triangle or the velocity triangle at the outlet. So, this is how you can draw the individual velocity triangle. Individual velocity triangle. And what will be your, maybe from the Euler equation, okay, from the Euler equation which you have studied in your turbo machines course, from the Euler's energy equation, Euler's energy equation, okay, it is work done per mass or W by M, okay, W by M, it is also E or something, which is given by VW1 into U1 minus VW2 into U2. So here U1 is equal to U2. I can write VW1 minus VW2 into U. So this is the work done per unit mass for an axial flow steam turbine. An axial flow steam turbine, that's the thing. Okay. What is you might have studied something like alternate form of it. Okay. Alternate form of this energy equation or Euler equation. So alternate form of the Euler equation. Can anyone tell me what it is actually? If you remember how we get it, all those things. Just a second, maybe, please. What is this alternate form it actually? How we get it alternate form? Putting VR is equal to using cosine rule. Hope you remember. Hope you remember using the cosine rule actually, we'll try to get this alternate form. Okay. I'll write that, I'm not going to. So cosine rule for VR is equal to V1 plus U minus 2 cos VU into cos beta 1. So that using that particular formula, cos alpha 1 or cos theta, whatever it may be, using that particular formula, we'll get it. So alternate form of Euler equation for a turbine will be W by M is equal to V1 square minus V2 square by 2 plus U1 square minus U2 square by 2 plus VR2 square minus VR1 square by 2. This is the general one, what I am writing. For an axial flow machine, U1 is equal to U2. So therefore, U1 square minus U2 square, that get cancelled. So W by M will be equal to V1 square minus V2 square by 2 plus VR2 square minus VR1 square by 2 for an axial flow turbine. For an axial flow turbine, because U1 is equal to U2 is equal to U. I do have a single blade velocity. Got it? So like this, we will get the expression. Okay. Now, there is something called, as you might have studied, combined velocity diagram or combined velocity diagram. We are going to use this combined velocity diagram for your maybe steam turbines. Combined velocity diagram. Combined velocity diagram. what it is actually, here I am going to combine both your inlet and exit velocity triangle on a single base. So now in axial flow machine or in most of your steam turbines, as I told, we are going to go with an axial flow machine. It's an axial kind of a thing. I will be having a common base. Okay, that is your U. See, if I look at it, this is the U direction. Okay, if I call this as U, so I will be having a common U. A common U is there. So I can draw the velocity triangle with this common base. With a common base, and so this will be my VR if I try to draw. Okay, this will be my V, sorry. This will be my V1 absolute velocity. Okay, this will be my V1, and I can close the triangle with the VR1. This will be my VR1. Okay. Similarly, I can have the exit velocity triangle also. So exit velocity triangle. So this will be from V2. This will be V2. Then I can close it with VR2. Okay, this will be my VR2, and this will be V2. Sorry, this is VR2 and this is V2. Sorry, this should be VR2. This is VR2 and that is V2. This is VR2 and this is V2. So I got, see, if you noticeable, if you look at it, your exit velocity triangle should be smaller than the inlet velocity triangle. Now I can close this. I can complete the velocity triangle by, so now if I try to look at it, this will be my VW1. This will be my VW1. This will be my VF1. Now similarly, okay, similarly this will be my VW2. This will be my VW2. This will be my VF2. Okay, I have got all the components U, V1, VR1, VW1, VF1, and U, V2, VR2, VF2, VW2. All the velocity components are represented on a single velocity triangle. Now, what I'm going to do actually, let me represent angles in it. Let me make it a little bigger. Okay. Now, let me put the angles. See, V1, here I can have alpha 1. An angle made by V1 is alpha 1. Angle made by V2 will be alpha 2. Angle made by VR1 will be beta 1. Angle made by VR2 will be beta 2. So like this, I can have a single combined velocity triangle showing all the components of velocities or all the components of vectors in the velocity diagram. Now you closely observe this actually. If in this velocity triangle, if you are seeing that VF1 is bigger than VF2. Okay, VF1 is equal to VF1. So most of the times, if both the triangles are same, if both the inlet and exit velocity triangles are the same, in that case, R, your VF1 is equal to VF2. That means if frictional loss, here I can write VF2, that is exit flow velocity. So from the velocity triangle, let me draw to the left hand side. So observations. Okay, your V2 is less than VF1. What does it mean? So it means your flow, there is a frictional resistance. It means that there is a frictional resistance. Frictional resistance to the flow. There is a frictional resistance to the flow when the steam flows, when the steam moves over the blade. Okay, when the steam moves over the blade, this is what is going to happen. Or what we try to do is actually, okay, and one more thing is, see, your VF, what does it indicate? This indicate that you see, if this is the difference, if you try to look at it, so try to draw a line somewhere here. Okay, so this value gets reduced. This is the one what I'm like trying to tell. That means how I can represent that. See, because how that particular thing is, so VFO2 is less than this thing, that is mainly because of your relative velocities. That is mainly because of relative velocity. That means the flow, see, it is because of the fluid is flowing over the blade with a relative velocity. Look at this. It is your VR1. See, the fluid will be coming like this with a relative velocity. Okay, that means there is some kind of a factor here. It is K is equal to, okay, VR2 by VR1. What is this K? K is the friction factor or blade velocity coefficient. It's the blade velocity coefficient. Okay, blade velocity coefficient, or it is also friction coefficient or friction factor. Because see, in that case, what will happen? This one, your VR2 will be K into VR1. When it gets reduced by, say, your VR1 is equal to something like 200 meters per second. So your VR2 will be 0.9. So K is equal to 0.9. So 0.9 into 200. So it is around 180. So once I draw the 180 meters per second, automatically your flow velocity, that the component automatically gets reduced. So blade loss. So this is the losses due to friction. So this is the losses due to friction. Is that clear? So because of this particular thing, your actual combined velocity triangle or combined velocity diagram, your VF1 will be greater than VF2 or VF2 is less than your VF1 whenever there is a friction. So when many of the times, ideal cases, what we try to take, there is no friction. In that case, I can directly write VR1 is equal to VR2. In that case, automatically your VF1 will be equal to VF2. The flow velocities will be same. Is that clear? So any doubts? This you should have studied in your earlier classes or in your turbo machinery course. Am I right? Have you studied or not? Your steam turbine classes. Now the next part actually. Analysis of your or forces on the blade or work done by the blade or all those things we have to look it for a single stage machine. Okay, single stage machine. What is this actually? If I look at the your Euler equation, So what it is given by Euler equation is nothing but it is a force or force, so that is work done per unit mass. Okay, from the Newton's second law, what we have? Newton's second law, we have force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, then your force is given by mass flow rate into your whirl velocity. The forces on the blade and the corresponding work done. So work done is nothing but your work done is nothing but mass flow rate into your whirl velocities, or what is the tangential forces into u. So that means it is based on your Euler's energy equation. What are the expression? What are we going to do? That expression we have to do it. So now let's go back to your Euler's energy equation. How did we get it actually? If you look at the Euler's energy equation, okay, Euler's energy equation is what we are supposed to derive it. So anyhow, you have studied in your turbo machines course. I'm not going to derive that particular thing. I ask you people to use that directly, and only I'm going to write only the expressions. Okay, I'm going to write only the expressions. Force acting on the steam turbine blade. First thing, the force acting on the blades. That is your steam turbine blades. So the force is free. We have from the Newton's second law. Okay, force acting on the blades from the Newton's second law. From the Newton's second law, that is the momentum equation. So Newton's second law, we have force, that is, if you call this as Ft or F, is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. Now, what is acceleration? What is acceleration? Mass into
change in velocity.
dv by change in velocity per time. So what I'm going to do actually, this mass I'm going to change it to this dm by dt into dv is for finite distance. So I can write this as m dot into your change in velocity. M dot into change in velocity. Let me call this as equation. This you might have done in your Euler's energy equation. This is what I'm not going to do in detail. Just I'm going to touch upon few things. That's it. So mass into acceleration, I'm writing it as mass flow rate into change in velocity. Now, what is this change in velocity? Your dv is your change in tangential velocity. The dv is actually it is change in the tangential velocities. What it is actually? It is actually Vw1 minus Vw2, where Vw1 is the world velocity at the inlet and Vw2 is the world velocity at outlet. So therefore, I can write your tangential force is equal to m dot into Vw1 minus Vw2. This is my equation 2. Okay. Now let us go back to the velocity triangle. Go back to your velocity triangle. If you look at it, this is the direction of it. Now, in the velocity triangle, your CW or VW2 is in opposite direction to the blade. Okay. If they are in the same direction, see, this is the direction for VW1. This is the direction for VW2. There are two cases here. Okay, I will write both the cases. One, if VW2, that is world velocity, is in opposite direction, to the blade motion, See, the blade is also moving in the same direction. That is your U. U is in the left direction, and VW2 is in the opposite direction. So in that case, what will happen? So for this condition, okay, then your CW2 or VW2 is negative. So therefore, your Ft will be equal to m dot into Vw1 minus Vw2. This will be equal to m dot into Vw1 plus Vw2. I am calling this as equation 3. I don't know this you might have used this formula in your turbo machines course. Whether putting how did you put plus and how did you put minus in Govind Mekode, it is not clearly explained. Blindly you people have applied it and you might have done it. This is the reason. The VW2, this is mainly because of, look at the velocity triangle, say I have a reason. Your U and VW, they are in opposite direction. That's why it is negative. Okay. Now the second case, there are cases where I have a second case. I will draw the velocity triangle for that also. If VW2 is in same direction, to the blade motion. If this is blade motion, then your VW2 is positive. Then for that, what will be your? Therefore, your force will remain m dot into VW1 minus 2. That is, your equation 2 will remain as it is. So this is the reason why. So when you are supposed to put plus, when you are supposed to put minus. See, what will be the velocity triangle for this condition? Let me put that. So in that case, what will happen? For this condition, velocity triangle for the second case, how it will be? Say I have a velocity like this. This is my u, okay? Then I'll be having my, okay? This is my v1, and I'll be closing with r1. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'll be having a case where this thing is smaller like this. Okay, this will be my VR2, and I'll be closing it with V2 like this. Okay, this will be my V2. Now if I try to get the components of velocity, so this will be the direction for VW2, and this will be your VF, and this will be your VF1, and this will be your VW1. So VW1 is, in this, for this particular case, this will be your VW1, your U, as well as your VW2. They're all in the same direction. So you can, for each condition, you can draw the velocity triangle and justify what you are trying to do. So in that case, therefore I can write your tangential force Ft is equal to m dot, that is plus or minus. So m dot into VW1 plus or minus VW2. So when you are going to use plus, when you are going to use minus, you should take the call. So I will use plus when they are in opposite direction. I will use minus VW1 minus VW2 when they are in the same directions. That's all. Simple thing. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, fine. Now let's go to the second one. Work done and power. Okay. Work done and power. What is work done? So you know that work done is nothing but your force into distance. Okay. Work done is nothing but your tangential force into your displacement or distance. Okay. Distance moved in unit time. Okay. Maybe simple, I can write it as distance moved in unit time. What I can call unit time. What is it actually? That is your U. That is your blade velocity. So in case of your turbo machines. So this is nothing but your tangential force just now we defined into U. So therefore, your work done is equal to m dot into VW1 plus or minus VW2 into U. VW2 into U. I'm calling this as equation number 6. So this is the work done. Okay. Now what is power? So now see, this work done is also a power because I'm using m dot. is also, see, if I try to divide it by some 1000 or whatever it may be, it becomes kilowatts. So what is the unit for the work done? This will be simply watts. Okay, now the same work done is equal to power m dot into VW1 plus or minus VW2 into U. Simply I will divide it by 1000. Okay, I am calling that as equation 7. So I am going to get it in terms of kilowatts. That's it. The same equation, mass flow rate into VW1 plus VW2 into U. If I divide it by 1000, I am going to get it. Are you getting? So this is the expression for your work done, your tangential force and all. And we got it from your oil equation. Okay. Let us look at the one more thing. What is called the blade efficiency, the third quantity. Third quantity, blade efficiency or diagram efficiency. Some books they call this as diagram efficiency. Blade efficiency or the diagram efficiency. This is with respect to your steam turbines. It is defined as the ratio of work done by the blade per second to the energy entering the blade. So it is the blade efficiency. Let me write it. The blade efficiency is the ratio of the work done. Is the ratio of work done by the blade, maybe per second or whatever it may be. So blade per second to the energy supplied to the blade per second. To the energy supplied to the blade, to energy supplied to the blade per second. So this is called as your blade efficiency. Then what is your work done per, just now we defined it. Okay, just now we defined that it is actually m dot into, okay, m dot into the, what is the work done? VW1 plus or minus, just now we defined. So this is equal to m dot into VW1 plus or minus VW2 into U. This is my work done expression divided by half mv square. Okay, half mv square, that is 1 by 2 into m dot into V1 square. Okay, half mv square, that is the kinetic energy. So kinetic energy, that is the energy supplied, is given by half mv square. This is the formula what we use. That is the energy input. Now m dot will simply go off. Okay, then if I take 2 to the top, to the denominator, if it go to the numerator, this will be 2 into VW1 plus VW2 into U divided by V1 square. So this will be the expression for the expression or 6th or 7th equation, 8, equation number 8. Okay, this is the expression for blade or diagram efficiency. We call that as a diagram efficiency, blade efficiency or diagram efficiency. Okay, now the next one, axial thrust or axial thrust at the end of the blade. Axial thrust at the, or we can call this the force applied on the or the thrust on the rotor. Okay. Let me write that. This is the fourth one. Axial thrust or the force, that is end thrust on the blade. Axial thrust or end thrust on the rotor. What it is actually, this is the force acting in a direction perpendicular to the rotation. Okay. That means if this is my axis, this is the rotation, what is the thing which is acting perpendicular to it? This is the rotation. So what is the one which is acting perpendicular to it on the rotor? If this is I'm trying to twist it, then it's something like, hope you remember that you may be using journal bearing. Okay, in journal bearing in your design classes, this thing, you might have seen what is axial thrust on the journal bearing. You might have done such problems in your DOM or in the design. So this is your the axial thrust. This is the same thing. Now the axial thrust is given by Fa. Okay, this is given by your mass, same thing, into the velocity. See, this is the mass per second, m dot. Okay, m dot into the change in velocity, or in the m dot means mass into acceleration. We know that here mass flow rate means m dot into the velocity change in the axial direction. That is change in velocity, change in velocity in the axial direction. Okay. Now, what type of machines we are dealing with? We are dealing with axial flow machines. So I have clearly told in the previous class that in axial flow machines, the axial flow velocity, the flow velocity will be the change in direction. That is, in the axial flow, in the axial direction will be the flow velocities. So then your axial force Fa is equal to m dot, okay, m dot into the change in velocity, that is your Vf1 minus Vf2, Vf1 minus Vf2. So this will be your, see, what will happen? Already I have told that what will happen to your this thing. There is a reduction in your CR1 or CR2 or VR1 or VR2 because of friction, all those things. And this flow with this particular thing is also mainly because of the reduction in the flow velocities. Okay. Then the last one, the gross stage efficiency. Gross stage efficiency. The gross stage efficiency. What it is actually? It is nothing but work done per kg to the isentropic enthalpy drop. Okay, work done. So this is nothing but a gross stage efficiency. Gross stage efficiency. This is work done per kg in the stage, per kg in the stage. So whenever we are dealing with steam turbines, we always go with stages. So work done per kg per stage to isentropic enthalpy drop. Isentropic enthalpy drop per stage or in the stage. In the stage. Okay. Now gross stage efficiency, why it is so important actually? Because we are looking at not only the rotor, we are looking at the both stators and rotor. The combined effect, if I want to study per stage, means so gross stage is the one. If I try to look at the hydraulic efficiency of blade efficiency only with respect to the rotor, it's only with respect to the rotor. If I want to look at the what is happening per stage, this is the one which I need to look into that. What is the work done actually? Work done is actually it's given by, so just now we have found, so the gross stage efficiency is given by your U or m dot into your U. Okay, the work done per kg of stage is actually given by m dot into VW1 plus or minus VW2 into U. Then what is your, see, work done per kg, this particular thing? No, just now this is given by work done per kg, your blade efficiency. We got this one. So this is 2 into your, what is it actually? This is divided by delta H, yeah, divided by delta H. M dot into VW1 plus VW2 into U divided by divided by your delta H isentropic enthalpy drop. Or if you want, you can modify this particular thing. Gross stage efficiency, if you want, you can write something like this. What it is actually? M dot into VW1 plus or minus VW2 into U, okay, divided by of M dot, okay, V1 square into of M dot into V1 square divided by your delta H isentropic. Okay, what it is actually, see, this is, see, this particular thing, this is very, this is fine. Whatever the expression I wrote, this is just sufficient for you. I'm trying to give some extra information. So what is this actually? This is your nozzle efficiency. That means if you try to closely look at it, this is your blade efficiency, this is your nozzle efficiency. Or I can write your gross stage efficiency is equal to your blade efficiency into your nozzle efficiency. Go back and check what we have done in the nozzles and diffusers. Kinetic energy to your isentropic dispersion. So if I can easily write in that particular fashion. Gross stage efficiency is equal to the blade efficiency, and so blade efficiency is the rotor. Okay, this is a rotor and this is a stator. So this is the rotor and this is the stator. Okay, so we'll try to stop at this particular point.